Now on BBC One, it's time for Inside Out West Midlands with Ayo Akinwolere.
On tonight's Inside Out, the Vigilantes confronting men they claim are targeting young Sikh girls.
You come to meet an underage Sikh girl. Somebody come to meet an underage Sikh girl.
When the NHS is in need of every penny, we discover millions being wasted on equipment that could be returned.
I think we should actually return them back to the hospital and ask them to take them back and put them back into use.
And why the first black Brummies had to overcome racism and discrimination.
We have testimony after testimony of black church people who went to the churches. There were members up in the Caribbean, here in Britain, the Baptist, the Methodist and the Anglican, and they weren't made to feel welcome.
I'm Ayo Akinwolere and this is Inside Out West Midlands. Hello from Birmingham. Now, you might have seen reports of vigilantes controversially filming and shaming suspected paedophiles. Now, a group based in the West Midlands is confronting men it believes to be targeting Sikh girls specifically. Now, I'm going to warn you, Suzanne Verdi's report does contain detail of sexual abuse and some racist language.
I grew up in multicultural Birmingham, the proud daughter of a white mum and Sikh dad. Half my family are Sikh, so I hear about what's going on in that community.
And there's something that's got everybody talking.
You come to meet an underage Sikh girl. Somebody come to meet an underage Sikh girl.
A Sikh community group has begun hunting down suspected abusers.
You're disgusting paedophiles.
And it claims the alleged abuse is racially motivated.
Would you have done the same to a Pakistani girl?
No.
So why are some Sikhs hunting suspected paedophiles? And could they be doing more harm than good?
You've got a colourful past, haven't you? Do you think you're the best person to be doing this kind of work?
Today, the man who's been confronting those suspected paedophiles is giving a talk at Smethwick Gurdwara.
Hello, Deepa.
Hi,
I'm Suzanne.
How are you?
Thanks for agreeing to meet me.
No problem.
Deepa Singh is the founder of Sikh Youth UK, a community group which works with victims of sexual grooming, some of them girls and some of them young women. He's arranged for one of them to tell me her story. We're calling her Kiran. She tells me she was 16 when an 18-year-old British Pakistani contacted her on Instagram.
Did you know he was Muslim when you started dating him?
Yeah, I did.
And did that bother you in any way?
No, I thought it would have been fine, but obviously it wasn't.
Kiran's boyfriend told her that her family wouldn't approve of her dating a Muslim because of historic tensions between Muslims and Sikhs.
When my family found out, he told me that my dad would kill me, put me in bin bags, cut me up and throw me in a canal. And that's when I started getting scared, because I never really had a good relationship with my family. I would believe him over anything. So I ran away from home, and that's when things started changing. He'd lock me up in rooms and force me to listen to Islamic prayers. He'd rape me. And whenever he thought I was pregnant, he'd kick me in the stomach, strangle me, and it was just a cycle of torture.
West Midlands police confirm a 19-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of rape, but that after a thorough investigation was released without charge. Nonetheless, Deepa Singh believes Kiran's story helps to illustrate how Sikh girls are targeted, and he believes it's a big problem. He tells me that over the last 18 months, Sikh Youth UK has supported 88 victims of grooming.
Majority of the cases that have come to us are on Sikh females, and when it is not a mature relationship, is targeted and there is a religious racial motive. I would say about 90% and over that I've seen that specifically targeted Sikh girls are from the Pakistani Muslim community. There's evidence to report that when there's...
What evidence have you got?
There's so much evidence to support that for the last 5 decades, which we've produced in a report.
This is that report, produced by Sikh Youth UK itself. It includes newspaper reports spanning 5 decades, citing allegations of Muslim men targeting Sikh girls.
The courts heard how the men met up with the 16-year-old child from Leicester.
This court case also gets a mention.
The three admitted 5 counts of paying for sex with a child.
But the report accepts there have been few such convictions, blaming police inaction and a reluctance among Sikhs to report abuse. Not everyone is impressed. I'm meeting a former lecturer and youth worker who spent years working with British Pakistanis in Birmingham.
Hi, good to meet you.
Jahan Mahmood is himself of Pakistani heritage.
I mean, there was one high-profile case that I read in the report itself, but I don't feel that there's enough evidence there to suggest that this is something that's just pinpointing Sikh girls. I feel that they're racialising a crime that is prevalent across society.
Isn't that what was said back in Rochdale when the girls there were ignored for so long? Aren't we risking letting girls being abused just because of cultural sensitivities?
No, because I think it's happening across the board. These men will exploit anything that's available to them. So if it's Sikh, if it's Bengali, if it's Muslim, if it's Pakistani, if it's an English girl, they do not care.
Back at Smethwick Gurdwara, I'm in the audience for Deepa's latest talk. He's been spreading Sikh Youth UK's controversial message at events like this up and down the country.
People are radicalising young Sikh girls day and night. They are grooming them, they're sexually exploiting them. Is this not an attack on Sikhs, or isn't it not? Is this racially motivated? Yes, it is.
And Sikh Youth UK's message has clearly struck a chord with Britain's Sikh community.
Yeah, this is where the staff will be based day to day.
They've managed to raise over £350,000 to build a new centre based in the West Midlands, and it won't just be used to support victims of grooming.
You say you're recruiting intelligence officers. Now, what is that? Is that like your own Sikh police force kind of thing?
Not really. It would be like a private investigating team.
And that team will be doing more of this.
Sorry, come to me an underage Sikh girl.
You said send naked pictures of yourself. You're asking a minor underage Sikh girl for indecent images.
Deepa and his team have begun hunting suspected paedophiles. So far, they've filmed 2 confrontations with men who believe they were meeting 15-year-old girls.
You're disgusting paedophiles. I'm just targeting young Sikh girls at Sikh schools. I'm not forgiving no paedophiles. You've come to meet an underage Sikh girl. I don't want your apology. People like you disgust me.
One video reveals no evidence of a racial motive, but in the other, Sikh Youth UK single out a word used by the man in a text.
What's Pak mean? What's Pak boy mean?
Like a Pakistani boy, I don't know, whichever
So
one.
why would you use Pakistani, you know, if this isn't racially or religiously motivated?
Would you have done the same to a Pakistani girl? No.
No.
So you targeted Sikh girl?
No, I'm not
That's
targeting
a Sikh girl.
I'm not targeting any girl.
The guy was just ultimately saying it's because it's a Sikh girl. He just continued to do that, and I don't believe it was. I think that man would have exploited any Asian girl because she was closer to his culture. Really, the way to approach this is people get together who feel strongly about this, as opposed to say, well, it's only our girls that are big, because no, every single girl that's exploited is our girl. It's as simple as that.
Is this not individual acts, though, rather than a religion or somebody from a certain faith doing this? Just individual acts by bad people?
Definitely not. In some cases, maybe, but not some I've seen where there is a racial motive, where there's messages saying, you raghead, that's a racial slur. Yeah, you're raghead's daughter, you dirty sickney. Why would they, on their Instagram profiles, change their names from Naveed to Nav Singh and things like that, which we found? Why would they try to perceive themselves as Sikhs if there wasn't a religious or racial motive to it?
But there are also concerns that Sikh Youth UK's tactics may get them into serious trouble.
West Midlands Police have told us anyone who does this kind of vigilante work could be breaking the law. Does that worry you?
I'd always work within the law, definitely. Work with the authorities as much as we can. We wouldn't be hindering their investigation. In fact, we'll be supporting it.
What about the fact that they say that you do risk disrupting criminal investigations and also compromising the safety of the vulnerable victims that you're trying to protect?
No, definitely not. I disagree with that totally. I believe they're just being dismissive on that issue, 100%. I know we would always work within the law. We would always show sensitivity and support to the victims, their family members as well.
This isn't the first time Sikh Youth UK has been in the spotlight. 2 years ago, the former leader of the right-wing group the English Defence League, Tommy Robinson, attended one of their events. Afterwards, Sikh Youth UK thanked him for a tweet in which he wrote, "Islam is targeting our children."
You don't agree with that, obviously, that
I don't agree with
Islam is targeting our children?
No,
just to be clear.
I specifically will say Sikh girls are targeted, and how I've explained all day are by Pakistani Muslim men, but it's a minority, it's not a majority.
Because Islam is a whole religion, isn't it?
I'm not against no other faith, I've said this. I'm not, just because his views on grooming may be similar does not mean that I'm against another faith.
You've got a colourful past, haven't you? I've read a blog where you've been interviewed and you were talking about your previous convictions for violence, drug use. And so what led you into this, and do you think you're the best person to be doing this kind of work?
So you're talking about my past I'll openly speak about, which is I've had a crime and addiction past. However, as Sikhs, the first thing we do is show compassion. The Sikhi saves lives. Sikhi saved my life. I made a turning point in my life here to help others because that's what Sikhs do.
Sikh Youth UK's views on grooming are broadly supported by Sikh Council UK, the Sikh Federation and the network of Sikh organisations. But there are concerns about their tactics.
We support what the group is trying to do here. Nevertheless, we wouldn't advocate other people carry out the same sort of methods because of the inherent risks involved to both parties, to the people taking the videos and also the alleged perpetrators. But the good thing is in these videos, the group involved have been working with the police and provided them with the evidence that they'd collated.
If you're going to go out as vigilantes, if you're going to set up fake profiles, if you're going to entrap people, then that's not really a kind of sincere methodology. If we can find out the girls that have been exploited, those that are willing to come forward, if we can speak to them, we can find the culprits, then that's one way of actually approaching this.
It's obvious Sikh Youth UK believe passionately in what they're doing, but their central message is deeply contentious. And when it comes to confronting suspected paedophiles, there remains the risk they could do more harm than good.